to round us out, we have the Financial Times team discussing how innovation strengthens their brand promise. Let's give a warm welcome to Marie and Samantha for our final track session of the day.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Marie, and I'm Director of Customer Experience and CRM at the Financial Times.
And I'm Sam. I'm the Head of Marketing Automation at the FT.
We're delighted to be here today at the Think Summit to talk about the innovation that we've been bringing to life in our marketing campaigns using Movable link capabilities. Now, when many people think of the Financial Times, they will often think of our pink newspaper, about news about stocks and shares, politics and economics and breaking news. And yes, that is who we are. But today, Sam and I want to talk about something bigger than that. How innovation is in our marketing, and specifically our marketing automation capabilities, is helping us to deliver on the FT's brand promise of trust. And I know that for everyone in this room, delivering a trusted experience for their customers isn't just a challenge for us as a news organisation. You're all facing the same challenge. Whatever industry you're in, you know that pressure. Customers want a trusted experience. They want relevance, timeliness, and transparency. The question is, how do you answer that in a way that strengthens brand trust rather than undermines it? And that's what Sam and I are going to share with you today. We know that for every brand, trust is one of the most valuable, but also one of the most fragile assets that a brand can have. When a customer trusts us as a brand, they'll reward us with their loyalty and their money. But once it's broken, that trust is incredibly hard to rebuild. And nowhere is that more true than for us in news at the moment. We're living in an age of misinformation, polarisation, and that growing scepticism towards media brands. So for our readers, knowing who to trust and that they can trust us has never mattered more. But we also know that marketing can damage trust. When the promise doesn't match their experience, people can feel misled. We all know how we feel about those non-going pop-ups that remind us the sale's ending, and that date never quite happens because they keep extending it. We know that people can see through sustainability claims that don't just really stack up. And for us at the FT, managing and responding to that trust is sharper than for many other brands because accuracy, impartiality, and integrity define our journalism. And that credibility has to be seen at every touch point, including our marketing. And that's why for us, when we think about innovation, we have to make sure that it reinforces that brand trust, never undermines it. Here's the other thing. For us in a news organisation, trust is being relevant. It is being timely. Our readers come to us because they want to be kept up to date with the news that matters when it matters. If we're late or irrelevant, we lose that credibility really fast. And the same has to be kept true in our marketing. Being timely and relevant in our marketing is how we prove reliability every day for our readers. That's what makes the challenge for us so tough. We're all under pressure to be personalised in our communications, being timely and relevant for those customers because it earns their trust. But for us, it's magnified. We've got over 2 million readers and 300,000 subscribers who regularly visit our website. Those subscribers are subscribing to, on average, we've got about 7 subscription products, all of which are different formats and content. Our global audience reaches 230 countries. And we have a newsroom that produces over 650 articles every week in various formats from the written word, audio, newsletters, podcasts. And most importantly, we have the news agenda. And therefore, our readers' interests can change based on that news agenda in a matter of hours, if not minutes. And we have a team of 5 brilliant marketing automation experts, led by Sam, has to keep pace with all of that while running over 60 CRM campaigns across that global audience. That's the scale of what innovation has to solve for. So that's our tension, and the tension we face on a daily basis. We don't just want to be fast, we want to stay relevant and trusted, even when the news story changes by the hour. And that's where innovation has really played a role for us in the marketing team at the FT. We know that trust can't be claimed, we have to live it. And that means giving people those personalised, relevant journeys that we've been talking about today in many of the talks. We need to make sure that that sense of trust that customers have in our journalism carries through to the customer experience and our marketing. It means that we need to innovate in a way that is meaningful and not adding to the noise. That looks a bit familiar. I think we've seen that a few times today. So to put it into practice, like many, we've built a marketing approach around 3 simple pillars: getting the right content, our journalism, to our customers at the right time in our marketing, with the right message or offer that we want to communicate to them at that time. Sounds straightforward. We've heard about lots of brands out there today doing that. But if you put that in the context of that global audience, with diverse readership and interests, the pace of a newsroom, and the ever-changing news agenda, it's a real challenge to deliver. And that's where we've been using some innovative marketing automation capability to help us. So if that's the foundations, why trust matters for us, the challenges we face, and the principles we work to, the big question is, how do we make it work in practice? I'm not going to answer that. I'm going to hand that over to Sam to show you how we've used innovation to bring all that to life.
Thank you very much, Marie. So, yeah, the big question, how do we do it? This is a vague approximation of what the inside of my marketing automation environment looks like. We have over 60 automations that are managed by that team of 5. All of these campaigns have multiple behavioral demographic triggers depending on how our users are engaging or not engaging with their access. As discussed, all of the many emails within these campaigns need to reflect the right content or the right offer message at the right time. And that's not all we're thinking about. We are still a marketing team with marketing objectives. So we've got to consider how the right content or offer reflects our engagement metrics for the base. How many quality reads are we driving? Are we hitting our conversion targets? We have all of these campaigns and complexity to manage, but we also have a marketing strategy to follow and report against. So naturally, one of the key considerations for us in all of this is the constant battle of whether this is the moment for the right content or the right offer for the different audiences. So let's make it a little bit easier to start with. Apologies, I was on the wrong thing. Sorry, my slides, there we go. Everyone, I apologize. We're gonna make it easier to start with, like I said, and we're just gonna focus on content. Let's just think about getting the right content into our emails across these campaigns. Now, as Marie mentioned, when we talk about content, we aren't just talking about articles. We're also talking about editorial newsletters, podcasts, specific journalists. So we really need to be clear about what's actually going to drive engagement. Let's start simple. We want users to convert. So let's just drop the highest converting articles into these emails, right? Okay, well, not right. We already have a challenge. There are over 50 emails minimum that need updating, and the top converting article is going to be different by at least different regions, or by different industries, or by different demographic data points. So that's some added personalization coding we need to drop in. So that might take us about a week. And now it's Monday. The top converting article by region has changed over the weekend. So now we need to update and change it all over again, and we cannot keep up. And that is where Movable Link comes in. We need to think about the right content. Using Movable Link's creative tag functionality, we can drop that top converting article, whether that's the same for everyone, varied by region or other demographic or behavioral data points, and we can build the article out in a couple of minutes and have it light up immediately throughout the life cycle wherever we're featuring content, knowing at this point that the most effective content for each user is being showcased in the emails that they're actually engaging with. What could have taken us, or used to take us, about 2 weeks, is now done in 2 minutes. And we can keep optimizing and testing this super easily. Using the creative tag in this way has increased our conversion rate from our emails also by 25%, which is a nice thing to shout about in meetings. What this has highlighted for us is that if we could ensure the right message was in our comms, the customer is more likely to trust and therefore engage with the message. This obviously goes beyond the news and article recommendations. Any industry, no matter what email is landing in my inbox, if the message makes sense to me, I'm likely to trust it. Okay, that's great. Job done. We can all pat ourselves on the back and go home. But what if the story is moving just a little bit too quickly for even a really quick creative tag update? What if, by the time we've updated even this article, the news agenda has moved on and all of our emails then start to feel out of date? You may have noticed that the article featured here contains a particular character who's relatively prominent in the news agenda at the moment and who can be, let's say, unpredictable. People like Trump and the news stories that they generate mean ensuring we're keeping pace with the newsroom and getting the right stories at the right time into our emails all the more important. So if you'll permit me to turn back the clock quickly, let's imagine we're waking up on April the 3rd of this year to hear that, okay, Trump's tariffs have gone into effect. By the next day, China has announced retaliatory tariffs. And so Trump announces his 10% tariff. Okay, things have calmed down for a moment. We can start updating our emails to match that. But suddenly on the morning of April 9th, we hear that the reciprocal tariffs have gone into effect. But by the afternoon, those have been suspended. But by later that afternoon, you hear that China's the exception to this conversion. And the next day, the rate for China has increased. But by that afternoon, the EU has paused their retaliatory tariffs. But then on the 11th, we hear that now electronics are exempt. But by the afternoon, you hear that actually this is only temporary. I'm going to stop there. We probably all remember this time. I know my team does. We had plans. We had a strategy. We had our creative tag. But we simply couldn't keep up with a story that was changing this quickly. Trump is, like I said, unpredictable, to put it lightly. And ultimately, our entire job is to get our incredible, trustworthy journalism in front of our subscribers. And our journalists work incredibly quickly. Over 40 articles on that one topic were published within 48 hours. Those top converting articles we talked about are changing, and I can't expect my team to work out of hours. How on earth could we make sure that our campaigns were showcasing not just that right content, but at the right time? Customers need to trust that we are keeping them up to date, even in a story that is changing by the second. The answer? Movable ink web cropping across all of our content emails. So quick show of hands, who here opens an email the moment it arrives in their inbox? Didn't think so. Even if it's from a brand you really, really love, very few of you are immediately monitoring your inbox and going, yes, please, I want to read that. So web cropping for us allowed us to bridge that time gap and keep pace with the newsroom. If we take the tariff story again, and we send an email at 10 a.m., we'd be talking about how the US-China relationship was on a precipice because the tariffs were about to go into effect. But if you opened your email after lunch that day, thank goodness, Trump has backed down from that trade war. I can't stress how vital that is for our readers. When people see our brand name in their inbox and a subject line that is related to US politics, they expect the information to be trustworthy. Imagine working in finance or trade and opening that email from us at 2 p.m. before a big meeting and thinking the tariffs were still in effect. You'd never trust us again because we gave you outdated information that could affect your career. As a result of making these changes during and since the tariff crisis, we have seen a 12% uplift in click rate across our content emails, simply because the content we're featuring is relevant and trustworthy. And again, this is industry agnostic. It's clearer for us because it's the news agenda and it changes so rapidly. But in a real retail environment, I need to trust that the clothes or jewelry I'm being recommended when I open an email is still available at the price that you're telling me it is. Whether it's news, information, inventory, as a customer, I'm more likely to click if I can trust I'm seeing a timely message. So that's content solved, thank goodness. But now we have to tackle the right message and the right offers. So remember, we've got multiple offers and products available for our customers and sales that take place a couple of times a year, which means we need to amend every single one of these featured offers from across our ecosystem. We know that different customer behaviors are matched to different offers. Someone who's super engaged and eager for deep insight may be right for our premium tier subscription. And so getting that offer messaging right, again, is ultimately an exercise in building trust with our customers. With all the customer data that we have access to, if we're not using that insight to make the right offer recommendation for a customer's needs, they might not subscribe in the first place. Or if they do, they may feel like they're not getting enough value for money, and that can impact churn, which we'd unsurprisingly like to avoid. So we need to think about the right message at the right time for our users' changing needs. So let's just use that pixel to drop in the most relevant offer to those emails. That's sorted, right? Okay, well, here's Sam. She might look familiar. She's currently a registered user with limited free access to ft.com. She's pretty engaged with the website. She hits the paywall a good amount of times, but doesn't seem too bothered by the premium content. We think the perfect product for her would be standard digital, and what luck. We've got a discount running at the moment, 40% off. Sam is going to be so pleased. So we drop that banner into our emails, which she ignores. She must not have seen it. We'll try again. And again. And eventually we have to think maybe Sam doesn't want that offer. Most of the time, we're effectively guesstimating what products people might buy. We can use that customer insight to try to build a hierarchy of offers, but we need to keep updating this for the users who are ignoring it. We can't realistically do that in a scalable and sustainable way if we do it manually. we need the option to introduce the subscription offers that are reactive to a user's behavior across all our campaigns. So if we set up Movable Link to look at Sam's interactions that are changing all the time, we can automatically rotate to showing her something like the digital edition instead. And lo and behold, she's interested and more inclined to convert. Thanks, Movable Link. We can continuously build trust with our audience by reflecting their needs as they change. But what if we could be even smarter? We saw earlier the power of the right content to get users to convert. So what if we could simply combine the two and use our web cropping, creative tag, and offer rotation all together to reflect the fact that Sam simply cannot stop trying to read this article from our Inside Politics newsletter, but she keeps hitting the paywall, and she's seen the standard digital offer a bunch of times and not converted. So why don't we get the right content, the right offer, send it at the perfect time, just as she's tried to read that article on site and been stopped, and drive more conversions, and ultimately more revenue that way. So realistically, it's been a lot of fun to set up, and it's been awesome updating stuff so quickly and boasting in internal meetings about how clever we're being, pulling stuff directly from the website. But has it achieved anything? Yes. As I said, we have seen an increase in sales with 25% more conversions. Our time to market also is so much faster, meaning the team can focus on strategy, insights, getting the right data into the right places, testing, learning, optimizing, and not manually adding different articles into different emails as the news agenda changes. And in general, we can see that our emails are way more effective. Our click-through rate across our journeys has more than doubled because our communications are relevant, engaging, and ultimately trustworthy. So I'm just going to hand back to Marie super quickly to finish us off.
Thank you, Sam. You make that sound like it was so much fun at the time, but believe me, that April, it was stressful in the office, and the team were definitely under the pump at that time. Anyway, thank you all for listening. That is our story. At the FT, innovation isn't just about chasing shiny new things to be a little bit more efficient and effective. It's about using those smart tools to meet our customers where they are with the content they need at the time they need and the right message, and doing it in a way that builds that brand trust that is so inherently important to us at the FT. And I know that's something that every brand in this room is grappling with, staying relevant at the pace our customers expect. Thank you so much for listening. If you've got any questions or you want to carry on the conversation afterwards, Sam and I are here and around about. Thank you very much.